Okay, so we're here today to talk about why you need a self-publishing strategy. Because you do, you absolutely do. So what I mean, first of all, what I mean by a self-publishing strategy is, rather than deciding that you're just gonna like upload a book and hope that you're an instant millionaire, I'm talking about instead of that scenario, which is what surprising amount of people do and think that it's gonna work, and very few people actually achieve. You come into this business with a set strategy, like you're going to publish this one series and it's going to be 5 books long and you're going to try to have them no more than 3 months apart. A strategy kind of like that you're going to, publish an urban fantasy and you're going to look at what other kinds of books are selling. You're going to make sure that you fit into that genre, that you're writing appropriate books for that genre, and you're going to brand your author name and your website to be an urban fantasy author. Those kind of strategies, because there are lots of things that you can do to make your books rise above that don't involve compromising yourself or compromising your story. It's just once your story is done, you're packaging it in the best possible way. You're presenting it to the world in the best possible way. So that's what I mean by strategy. And here's why you need one. Number one, the number one reason why you need a strategy is so that you don't feel tempted to try everything all at once. So what I mean by that is, it can be very tempting to say, I don't know where to spend my time, so I am going to try everything I've heard works. I'm going to get on Wattpad and try some stories and build a following there. I'm going to try some videos on YouTube and see if that works. I'm going to get into these reader groups where they read a lot of fan fiction. I'm going to write some fan fiction and see what happens over there. I'm going to join a bunch of author groups and see if I can make some friends, make some connections. I'm going to, publish a young adult book and then a mystery under this pen name and a contemporary romance under this pen name. There is so much that you can possibly you might, if you go into an author group and you start listening to what's the best way to start my career, there's going to be just a mind-numbing amount of information that is shared with you in terms of what you could possibly do. Because author over here is going to say, well, here's what I did. And this other person's going to say, well, I did this. And we're very much in this day and age of FOMO, fear of missing out. And I think that the biggest fear is that you're going to go in one direction and it's going to turn out to be the wrong direction and you're going to have wasted time. But what I'm telling you right now is that 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, the best path is a straight path where you decide this is what I'm going to try, and you're going to focus 100% on that. Because if you say, okay, I'm going to try young adult because that's what I want to write, and you go 100% young adult and you're not like trying all this other stuff, and you say, I'm going to put my book into Kindle Unlimited and I'm going to give it a year and I'm going to publish 3 books, and you have this very set strategy, you're going to get a lot farther in that 1 year than if you said, I'm going to write 1 young adult, 1 mystery, I'm going to try KU, I'm going to try to go out of Kindle Unlimited, I'm going to try, and you have like 10 different things and you're kind of just like throwing spaghetti on the wall and hoping that something sticks. Well, instead of, if you do that, you're honestly not going to give anything enough attention to even know if it works, first of all. Second of all, you're going to be so scattered that you're going to feel overwhelmed. You're not going to know kind of what's working. And if something does take off, you might not even know what it was that worked because you were trying so many different things and you won't be able to replicate it. One of my business mentors, Todd Herman, says, if you're going to fail fast. It's like try this one thing and stick with it long enough to know if it's going to stay or if it's not going to go. Like, try this one thing and see, give it 100%. And if it doesn't work out, then you can shift and try something different. But what you don't want to do is be trying like 20 different things all at once, because it's going to spread your focus so thin that you're not going to be really good or have an effective strategy at any one thing. The number 2 reason you need a strategy is because you're going to be in so much better position if you step back and you really look at your own talents and your own weaknesses. You can come up with a strategy that counteracts those weaknesses. So what I mean, for example, is if you know that you are a slow writer and there's no question that today's market favors fast releases, then if you come up with a strategy before, like instead of just like charging straight into the self-publishing career, you come up with a strategy where you say, okay, so I might be slow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-write, I'm going to spend the next year pre-writing 3 books. And then first thing in 2019, I'm going to start releasing those books every 3 months apart. And that will give me time to have book 4 ready. That is a strategy. If you just had book 1 done and you just threw it out there to see what happened, and it's going to take you 8 months to write book 2, you're going to be in a much more compromised position because you're slow writing. But if you step back and you really look at what are my weaknesses, what is the market doing, how can I counteract my own weaknesses, you can craft a strategy that's going to help you succeed. Number 3 reason why you need a self-publishing strategy. A few days ago, I posted a video about the one thing you need to know before you self-publish, and that is you need to know exactly what you want out of this career. And I'm telling you that once you know that, you can use that, like knowing what you want, you can use that to craft a strategy that is going to get you further toward your goals. So instead of, following what everybody else is doing, you craft a strategy that works for you to get you to your goals. And I'm going to use an example I used before. It's like writer A maybe just wants to make as much money as she can as fast as possible. She doesn't care what genre she's writing. She just wants to be able to write, and she just wants to make a lot of money. She doesn't necessarily care about like building a long-term career, building a series that's going to sell long-term. She just wants to make money. That's her number 1 goal. Maybe she's got a lot of bills piling up. Maybe she wants to take her family to Disneyland. It doesn't matter why. Money is her goal. That's what she wants out of this. Maybe she wants to quit her job and go full-time writer, and she needs, $50,000 to do that. Writer B, however, maybe their goal is completely different. Maybe they're a stay-at-home mom who just wants to make enough money to afford to send their child to daycare so that they have more time to write, more time to spend on the things that they enjoy. But this writer has a specific genre that she wants to write. She has this story that's been burning inside her, and she just needs to get that story out. And if it brings in a little bit of money, that's going to be like the cherry on top. But money is not the sole focus. It's just like the side project or side product. The number 1 focus is writing the story that she's been dying to write forever. Both writers are entitled to those dreams and to wanting what they want. But their goals are so different that their strategies are going to be very different. Writer number 1 who wants to, was I using A and B before, or was I saying 1 and 2? I don't know. Hopefully you guys are following me here. But writer number 1 over here that just wants to make a lot of money, her strategy might be more along the lines of, I'm going to go through Amazon and I'm going to look for what are the trendiest topics right now. She finds out that, hey, like, werewolf shifters are the number 1 best-selling, romance right now. So I'm going to write werewolf shifters. She studies them. She writes a bunch of shorter books so she can have more releases. She releases them into Kindle Unlimited where she gets more bang for her buck on her advertising dollars or whatever. And she, comes up with a budget. She's going to spend like $1,000 a month on Facebook ads, and she really hits that strategy. She makes friends with a bunch of authors, and she starts asking them to promote her books. She goes into group promotions, and she really hits the marketing really hard, but spends maybe less time on the actual writing of the books because she just wants to get them out quickly, right? That would be her strategy. It's going to be extremely different from writer number 2, who really wants to write this specific story, and she wants to do it justice for the story she's had in her mind since she was 16 years old. She's going to have maybe more of a strategy of, I'm going to take my time with this, but because I'm writing a little bit more slowly, I'm going to, hold back to book 3 before I start publishing. And because she wants to reach readers everywhere, she's going to go wide, and she's going to publish at Barnes and Noble and Google Books and all these other places because she's got that strategy going of she's trying to build a long-term career and a series that's going to sell long-term. So hopefully you can see from those 2 examples that if you need a strategy, because based on what your individual goals are, you can put together a strategy that's going to suit you. If writer number 2 was good friends with writer number 1, and 1 said to her, here's what really works, write to trends, do this, do this, do this, and writer number 2 had no idea what she really wanted because she hadn't taken the time to think about it, and she just wanted to like figure it out because she's overwhelmed, and she decided to follow writer number one strategy, she might start making money, she might not, but she's not going to get to her goal. Does that make sense? She's going to be getting to writer number one's goal. That's not where anybody wants to be. You want to follow your own dreams. So come up with a strategy that suits your goals so that you're not having to just watch what everyone else is doing and constantly be shifting gears. Reason number 4 that you need a self-publishing strategy is, let me tell you, you could waste a lot of time following a losing strategy or having no strategy at all. So if you didn't take time to put together a strategy for what series you're going to write first, what genre you're going to write first, exactly how you're going to build your career and how you're going to build your fan base. So let's say you didn't have that and you decided, you know what, I don't know, I'm just going to kind of, fly by the seat of my pants. So what you might do is you might say, well, I've got this one short story that I wrote a few years ago that's like a really great sci-fi. So you're going to publish that under your name. That gets out there, it's done. But you've also got this like really great cozy mystery that you really wanted to write. So like you go ahead and you work on that for a little bit, you get it published, it's a great book, it's done. You've got a few more you want to write in that series, but you also have this like really great novella that you wanted to write about a contemporary romance thing when it's like a beach romance and it's almost summer. So you thought this would be a perfect time to do it. So you put out your little beach romance. And then by the end of the year, you're like, I don't understand what's happened. I've got 5 books out and nothing's selling. Well, the reason 9 times out of 10 is going to be because you have like 5 different genres. You've got different lengths of books. You're putting it all under one pen name. And when someone comes to look for you and see like they loved your contemporary romance beach series, and they go to look for book 2 and all they find is like sci-fi and a cozy mystery, they're going to be confused and they probably aren't going to buy it because a lot of readers don't read cross-genre. You get a few, but for the most part, that's just not how this business works. And of course, there are going to be some people here and there who like published a bunch of different stuff and they found one thing that really resonated, but that could be your strategy. Like Hugh Howey, he published a bunch of short stories until he found something that like just really resonated. And he was like, okay, I'm going to keep writing that. And that's how Wool was born. But he came into it with a strategy of, I'm going to try all these different things. That's not going to work for most people unless you're like publishing a lot of stuff really fast. But if instead of that first example, you said, well, I've got this sci-fi short story that's finished and I really would love to make that into a series, then you start coming up with a strategy of how you're going to build that series, how you're going to build your pen name for sci-fi, how you're going to target specific sci-fi fans. Now, I understand that the sad part about that is you may love to write multiple genres and you may really want to do it, but this comes back down to, what are your goals? If your goal is, I don't really care how much money I make, I just want to write what I want to write, and I want to write around a lot of genres, and I'm hoping that eventually I will build enough of a fan base, then you do you. You do exactly what you want to do. But if your goal is to be able to make enough money to pay for your son's daycare in 6 months, you're going to have to be more strategic about how to put those books out there, because publishing 6 different books in 6 different genres is usually not going to get you to those goals. So that's why it's important to not only know what you want, but to begin to craft a strategy that is customized to your desires and your goals. The number 5 reason why you need a self-publishing strategy is purely for visibility. If you don't have a strategy and you don't know how you're going to reach the readers you want to reach, and you don't know what kind of readers you want to reach, you're going to have a really hard time finding your audience. And if you can't find your audience, you don't sell books. And if you don't sell books, you can't keep doing this unless you're just like independently wealthy, which if you are, good luck to you, but I kind of hate you now. Most of us are not independently wealthy. Most of us need to actually make a living at this. And if you do, then the best way to do that is to craft a strategy that's going to help you become visible to the types of readers that like your books. So coming up with a strategy for how you're going to price your books, how you're going to release your books, how you're going to cover your books, how you're going to promote them, how you're going to come up with your author brand. All of those things will come together in a strategy that will help you become more visible to the types of readers that are really going to enjoy your books. And so if you go into it without a strategy, you're going to miss a lot of opportunity in the beginning to set things up in a certain way, because there are certain things that are hard to change or expensive to change. Like if you go into this without really thinking strategically about your book covers and the types of readers you want to reach, then you could be looking at, by the time you're on book 4 or 5, you could be looking at several $1,000s to get better covers for those books. If you don't, think about what type of pen name you use, or if you want to use a separate pen name for a different genre, you've got to think through all those different questions to come up with a strategy that's really going to work for you. And those are the top 5 reasons why you need a self-publishing strategy. I highly encourage you, instead of just going into this business full force, it's cool to be excited, it's great to be excited, but rather than just being like, I'm going to take this one book and I'm going to publish it and hope that I make a lot of money, it's better to take a step back, figure out what you want, and then start developing your strategy. And if you're sitting out there right now and you're thinking, but Sarah, I have no idea what to do, I have no idea what kind of strategy I should be building or even what questions I have, well, you're in luck, because I will be, over the next few weeks, talking about probably the number one strategy that has worked for me to sell over 500,000 books. And it may not work for you, but I'm going to give you a bunch of different examples and a bunch of different tips and tricks that you can use to help you build your own strategy. I'll also have a course launching in March, probably end of March or early April. That's going to take you through all those decisions that you need to make, and it's going to take you through a bunch of different strategies. And if you would like, I will also be offering some coaching sessions where I will bounce some ideas and strategies back and forth with you. So if you're interested in that, be sure to send me an email, sarah@heartbreathings.com, and that's Sarah with 2 R's and no H. So if you have any questions about strategy or the kinds of questions you need to be asking, feel free to leave a comment below or over on my blog at heartbreathings.com, and I will get back to you as soon as I can, and I will help you however I can, because it is really and truly my mission to help you make money writing books that you love. So I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and the bell for notifications to get a message when my next video goes live. And I so appreciate you guys sticking with me this launch week and being here to support me. And that's it. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.